needs to calm down. Just gotta come in here, be a little professional-ish. Professional-ish. I don't really consider myself a professional. At least not yet, you know. Still kind of new to this whole thing. Haven't really gotten much of like a following. So it kind of feels like a weird way. It feels like I can just kind of go and do whatever the fuck I want. You know? Like, I could take my shirt off right now, and I don't think anyone's going to sit there from Twitch and be like, he can't do this right now. He's live streaming. He can't take his shirt off. But I digress. Small Twitch streamer problems. Am I right? As I sit back, having myself a little bit more green beer. But yeah, excuse me. I'm just kind of chilling tonight. Gonna play a little bit of Resident Evil 2. Probably not gonna be a ton tonight here. Like I said, we got a little bit of a late start. So I was supposed to go on at 8. So I got pushed back around because I was watching the Purdue FNU game where clearly the FNU coach was on cocaine. I'm not sure if that led them to a victory, but it probably didn't hurt. And so I watched Purdue lose. As nobody probably knows, I'm from Indiana. And while I didn't go to Purdue, I like to root for the Indiana teams during March Madness, right? I want them to do well. Represent the state, right? That a lot of people just like to sit back, make jokes of, call us Hoosiers. And, you know, where I'm from, being called a Hoosier is not a bad thing. But if you go outside of Indiana, you get called a Hoosier. Guess what? That is not a good thing. That is pretty much the equivalent of sitting there saying like, well, you look like someone who would have sex with his sister. I didn't know that. I did not know that growing up. I always thought, you know, Hoosier meant someone who lived in Indiana. But no, you go out, you explore the world, you understand new things, and you find out that a Hoosier is not a good thing. What the IU basketball team is doing, calling themselves the Hoosiers, I mean, they're basically sitting there being like, hey, we're the sister fuckers. But I didn't name them. I'm just a guy from Indiana, right? Dennis Hopper starring in a movie called Hoosiers as well. A movie that I probably watched, I want to say at least 3 times during my school upbringing. Like if there was like a bunch of tests and all that stuff, right? Like, you know, watching movies, right? Learning about the history of things. We go and we will watch the movie Hoosiers. And that was just life in Indiana. No one believed that there was a movie about living in Indiana. And then there you go. Then they went and made Hoosiers. One of the greatest sports movies of all time. I'll fight you if you disagree with me. But yeah. Purdue lost. Very upsetting. I have a couple of brothers that went to Purdue. One of my best friends went to Purdue. Me going from the Harvard of Indiana, going to graduate from Ball State, you know, we weren't maybe the greatest at the sports, but, you know, we have such alumni like Stephen Hawking, you know, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs. You know, they all came from Ball State, right? And then myself, you know. So we got all the greats in terms of like an educational field. We just maybe weren't the best when it came to the sports. So I don't really know what they feel like in terms of an emotion right now. But I would say right now, when it comes to sports and you feel like someone is of a high emotion, I think that is the best time to talk shit to that person. And so I sent my brother a text being like, hey, I can't believe that Ball State and Purdue were at the same time of it right now this year. That's how you can tell I've had a few green beers. I can't really form a complete sentence, but that's okay. You know, I'm not about forming complete sentences, even though I came from, again, the higher education that was Ball State University. No, I'm about enjoying life. And that's what being Ball State is all about. That, and there was a bit of a herpes epidemic when I was going to school there. Granted, I wasn't really getting laid all that much while I was going to school. At least not until like later on in college. But that's life. That's life. Some of us are just late bloomers. I've always considered myself a little bit of a late bloomer. Kind of behind the crowd in a lot of different ways. But still. All right. Well, enough about myself, the turmoils that come with watching sports. It's time to get our Resident Evil on. And you know what? I still can't hear anything. Just give me 1 second here. Let me go ahead and actually get that. There we go. There we go. Baby. Hey, babe, did you hear any of the conversation I just had?
You're going to play Resident Evil.
We saw that, right? But, so I was talking about how, and I graduated from Ball State, right? We're obviously known more for our academics, whereas a school like Purdue, right, is better at like school. Sure. At Ball State, Stephen Hawking, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, myself, right? They all graduated from Ball State there, right? It's called the Harvard of Muncie for a reason. But, I don't know how it feels to lose in a tournament because, again, we're just known for our academics so much.
Yeah, hard to relate. So what you're saying is you are equal to Hawkins and Einstein?
I never said Einstein. I never said Einstein. I said Hawkins, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs.
There's just no way that any of that is true.
Look me in the.
Pull it up. Show me on your Google.
You don't want to know what's on. You don't want to know what's on my Google, okay? It's okay, folks. I gave her flowers today.
Oh, shit.
And you know what? I gave her flowers today. And here's the thing, right? Let's actually talk about my day just a little bit more. Just a little bit more before we start playing, right? So I sit there, right? And, well, first off, the flower company totally fucked me over today. So I paid like an extra $10 to make sure that the delivery for the flowers were from 9 a.m. to noon. And, because I have a workout at 12:15, right? So I was like, well, we got to get it in before there. Not to mention, I also wanted to make sure the flowers arrived before Mariah came to my apartment. Hi, guys. I know. I'm telling the story right now. Can you let me speak for once? Thank you. So comes 11 o'clock. I'm looking at the tracking code. And it still says order complete, right? No, nothing about being on delivery, all that stuff. And then, so I go in there like a chat's like, hey, do you think it's, it's going to arrive at noon, And of course, it's like a chat bot. So they're sitting there being like, oh, yeah, it'll be there. Don't worry, blah, 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 blah. I was like, okay. Then 11:30 comes, nothing. 11:45 comes. I'm like, okay, well, this is clearly not getting here by noon unless they just miraculously show up at my place, right? So go to the chatbot, and noon hits. I have to cancel my workout, and they're like, chatbot's like, oh, well, we can't really guarantee delivery for this. I was like, what? No, I said I paid the extra $10 to make sure it was a guaranteed delivery from 9 to noon. And then they're like, oh, well, let me get you over to a live agent. Obviously, the chat, it was too complex, right? Ain't that chat GPT that we keep hearing the kids talk about, But go there, do the thing, and I'm just like, yeah, I paid for this. I had to cancel my workout because it was a late delivery. And they're like, all right, fine, we'll do the refund. I was like, it's fine, whatever, right? Just a little bit of an inconvenience there. But that means I have to, in order to get my workout in, I have to push it back to 4:25 because that's the next standard workout at Orange Theory classes. But I wanted to make sure before I set that workout that Mariah was going to come beforehand because I wanted to see her reaction to getting the flowers, right? Because it's actually the first time I actually got her flowers. Just low key there. This is kind of an important thing for me here. And so she's like, oh, I'm going to be there by 3:00. Okay, perfect. 3:00. You have to, and then I went ahead and set the workout for the 4:25 because. But the thing about Orange Theory, you gotta, in case you don't know, is that if you can't cancel the workout if it's 8 hours before, right? Like if you're gonna cancel that workout, it has to be 8 hours ahead of time, or else they're gonna charge you as kind of a way to make sure that hey, you commit and you go and do the workout, right? Which I actually kind of like, incentivizing you to go. Otherwise you're going to be canceling, 15 minutes ahead of time. I'm sure a lot of people will, right? So, all right. So 3:00, I'm expecting her to come over, right? Hang out, all this stuff. And then we'll, be able to show the flowers and all that stuff. And so, well, 3:00 comes, nothing. No word, no, I'm on my way, no nothing, right? Let's actually go ahead and pull up the exact timeline so that way I don't get shit later when she tries to refute it. And so let's see here. So yeah, actually 2:59. Okay, I get a text message from her saying, just waiting on my last load of laundry in the dryer to finish, then I'm on my way.
Do you see this where it says I'm going to head out of here by 3?
By 3, but that still means that you would be there by the time I have to go to my workout, correct?
Yeah, if I left at 3, I would have been here at 3:30. And I left at 3:20 something.
So
28, yeah, 3:28.
So text at 3:28, on my way. And then text at 3:55, it's not even 4, and this traffic, right?
Oh, there was a wreck, though.
By the way,
it ended up being a wreck.
How many times have you come to my place around this time and there's been traffic?
No,
all the time.
Not around this
all
time.
the time.
Not around this time. Usually it's not bad until...
Likely story over here. We'll wait for the judge to hear it. Okay?
It's if I leave
and
later,
you know what?
It's bad.
So I text, workout classes at 4:25, by the way. I text at 4:13, how close are you? Oh, I'm 5 minutes away. Well, at this point, it takes me 5 minutes to get there to my workout place, or 5 to 10 minutes, whatever. So I am pulling out of the driveway. So I'm basically, she comes in as I'm leaving.
But to be fair, it took me almost an hour to get here today.
Yeah. When you said you were going to leave by 3. And what time did you leave?
3:28. But I needed my uniform. I was cleaning my work uniform. I can't help it.
Well, maybe you should have started that process a little sooner now, shouldn't you?
I did. I was doing all my laundry.
No, okay.
I love my flowers.
Yeah. But one thing I wanted to see on it was her face when she saw those flowers. I couldn't even get that today. All right. Well, now that I got that therapeutic rant out of my head, time to do what I was meant to do, which was drink beer on today and play video games. Sky, go get your toy. And then not to mention, Sky also ruined one of my cords today, too. It's just been a bad day. Sky ate one of my cords. Luckily, it wasn't really being used all that much, but still. And I think the culprit was this toy over here, right? You see all these strings that he's just been tearing it up lately. So he's just been like String City over here lately. It was just, anything string-wise, he's just been like, oh, yeah, sure. I'll just go ahead and chew that shit up. All right. Actually, before we begin, I'm going to grab one more beer. And then we're going to go ahead and play. So I will be... Actually, well... You know what? While today I'm over-exaggerating. Obviously, I love getting the flowers for my girl. I love Sky. Sky's, he's a puppy. He's 6 months, going on 7 months here in a couple weeks. So, he's still learning. We haven't been able to get... The thing is, it also, rained all day yesterday. And then today, everything is, dirty and muddy. So I haven't been able to get him his exercise. So that's been really important. Lately, I've been really focusing in on, even if it's just a quick 30, 45 minutes to, throw the ball around the park, right? I've been trying to get him more and more exercise, right? Because, a tired puppy is a good puppy, I will say. So